Hey gang, it's been a little while. This is a little post-show update. We are about 3 weeks or so after my show where I competed in the 2025 Alberta Open in the Masters division and the Open division for men's physique. And this is a little bit about the post-show rebound and how to kind of properly manage it so you don't balloon up like a water buffalo after your show, which can, potentially be dangerous in some aspects with, a huge increase in water weight and the subsequent rise in blood volume and blood pressure. It's not necessarily the greatest thing, and hey, let's face it, you've worked so hard on your physique to get nice and lean and contest ready. Why the hell go and blow it by eating like a complete asshole after the show? Did I eat like an asshole after the show? Yes, I did. But my coach, Paul, gave me the green light for the night of the show and the following day, basically to open the floodgates and see what I could do with getting all the food cravings out of the way from all those delicious food items that you've been craving during your prep all along. So long and short of that was I ended up eating about 30,000 calories over the course of about a day and a half. Well, the evening of the show, I ate like about 10 gourmet cookies that were about 3/4 of a pound each and about 1,000 calories of cookies per cookie. I ate about 10 of those before we even hit the door to the hotel on the way out to grab dinner. Which was another mockery. But I had a lot of people out supporting me, so I didn't want to let them down and not eat like the king that I knew I could be. So needless to say, we had booked a holiday in Punta Cana at a 5-star all-inclusive resort. And you know what that means? That means you can eat as much as you can tolerate and drink as much as you can handle. Probably not the best advice for those coming off post-show. Great for rest and relaxation, shitty for post-show weight rebound. And of course, health implications that come as a result of that. I'm going to get a video of that vacation up and show you guys a little bit about that Punta Cana resort. We stayed at the Grand Bahia Principe Aquamarine. Beautiful, beautiful resort. We did stick to our workouts, 2 a day, nothing too crazy. And we did stick to the cardio because the resort was just so massive. Just the step count that we got in each day was between 15 to 20,000 steps. But did that make up for the additional eating? I would like to say it did, but no, it did not. Coming off a show, your body is primed to grow and suck up all those calories that you were missing because let's face it, your body doesn't want to walk around, for most of us that aren't genetically gifted, at single-digit body fat. It wants to be at a comfortable homeostasis, and for most of us, that's not single-digit body fat. So at the show, I weighed in at 235 pounds. And heading into the vacation, I was 255 pounds. So I had gained 20 pounds in the week leading up to our vacation, just with that huge binge. Was it 20 pounds of fat? No. 20 pounds of fat would be roughly 70,000 calories or so. So if you subtract your maintenance level calories from that, there's no way I was eating 14,000 calories a day. So the bulk of that weight is coming from water, glycogen storage. And of course, there's going to be some fat in there because you are eating in excess. So my goal was to not be a complete asshole on vacation, eat sensibly during the day, and have a meal of our choice for dinner and a dessert. Well, when you see the video, and sorry, I've just been lazy doing the editing. I love doing the videos, but I'm not a huge fan of doing the editing. but I'm going to get that out shortly. So when you're eating at a buffet on vacation, there is little chance, if any, that you're going to stick to your caloric needs. Regardless of how much activity you're putting in, listen, you can't outperform a shitty diet. Even if you're eating good quality food, excess is excess, because it boils down to calories in versus calories out, energy expenditure when it comes to gaining or losing weight. So when you're eating too much on holidays, you can expect to come back at a greater weight, especially when you factor in things like the abundance of sodium that you're likely taking in, drinks, alcohol, climate change, the airplane ride. All of these things contribute to weight gain. So, much to my surprise, but not really, I came back at 276 pounds. So what's that? That's 40 pounds above my contest weight 2 weeks prior. So 2 weeks prior to that at the show, 235. After the week in Punta Cana, 276. 41 pounds. Holy shit. Did I feel it? Absolutely I did. The vascularity that was once there was completely gone. My skin was so bloated, especially my hands. It felt like I was wearing ski gloves when I wasn't. My ankles. But ironically, I kept an eye on my blood pressure. My blood pressure did not increase, so it stayed in the normal healthy range. Surprise, surprise. That doesn't work well with everyone. I am taking blood pressure medication. I have been taking blood pressure medication for a number of years. It's just a genetic thing with me. My blood pressure was always running high, even when I was at my fittest and leanest and doing cardio every day. It's just the nature of the beast for some of us. But good preventative maintenance to keep that eye on the blood pressure, at all times, even if you feel good and you're functioning well. It's very important. Blood pressure is definitely one of the silent killers. So 41 pounds. So I do my check-in with Big Paul Barnett, and he's like, holy shit, I think you are one of the most epic rebounds that I've seen, saving except for one other fella who had gained like 50 pounds after the show. Is weight gain going to happen after the show? Well, absolutely, because you've been living in a deficit for a number of weeks or months. And then when you go back to eating maintenance, and let's face it, who's eating maintenance after a show? Most of us are going a little bit too hard in the calorie department and taking advantage of those things that we missed out on during the prep, and the weight's going to skyrocket. What you're aiming to do is stick to your maintenance calories, stick to your maintenance, stick to your workouts, because your body at that point has been so depleted and deprived that it wants to gain weight at that point. You might as well take advantage of that period of time to train hard, because you're going to get a great result. That's not the time where you want to say, okay, the hard work is done. I'm going to lounge around and just eat like an idiot, because you're just gonna blow up. It's not gonna be healthy, and you're gonna struggle so much to get that weight off again. As Paul said, he doesn't like to see guys much higher than 12% body fat and much more than about 20 pounds off their stage weight. And if you think that healthy weight loss in a prep is probably, without going crazy aggressive, about 1 to 2 pounds per week. So if you are 20 pounds over your stage weight, you got to figure like that's going to be, 10 to 15 weeks or 16 weeks of dieting to get back into contest shape if you're 20 pounds above. Now, granted, a lot of that weight was water weight, because when I weighed in this morning, I was 255 pounds. So I'm right at that 20-pound cutoff. And my Body Pro scale, and I believe those bioelectrical impedance scales are accurate? No, I don't. They claim to be, within a percentage or two of a DEXA scan. Again, I would love to see that to believe it. I haven't really dug deep into the, analytics of whether that is true or not. But taking their word for it, I can say that the scale does appear to be consistent. So what I mean by that is, like a weigh scale, you don't want to jump on one day and it's drastically different from another day, and then drastically different again from a following day. So if it's consistent, it gives you some measure or indication of whether you're trending up or down when it comes to weight or body fat percentage. And the scale indicated that I was 8.9%, around 9% body fat. So I'm within a comfortable distance of being where I would want to be following the show, despite the fact that I ate like a bit of an idiot on holiday. I ate good, clean foods. I was eating fish 3 or 4 times a day. The problem is the quantity of food that you're eating. Even though it's healthy food, like I say to many of our clients, there's a difference between eating healthy and eating right. A lot of people will eat healthy foods and they just don't understand why the weight loss isn't occurring. Well, it's because they're overeating healthy foods. Yes, it is a little bit more challenging to overeat healthy foods because typically they're not as saturated in calories, but it's still easy to overeat, especially with things like nuts and nut butters and oils. A little bit of extra can blow that progress right out the window and make it, a detriment. So there's the update, plus 20 pounds. Paul wants to see me get down a little bit more, about another 5. The workouts have been great. I'm at the gym right now as we speak. Going to do my first leg day in a while. So I'm not going to go balls to the wall because I don't want to end up being a cripple. I kept my steps up in the 10 to 12,000 range after the show. And for those of you who are using PEDs or fat burners and stuff like that, in order to avoid that post-show rebound, you don't want to go cold turkey following the show because you're going to have a metabolic boomerang going on. And listen, I'm not a doctor. This is not medical advice. So don't necessarily listen to what I say without consulting with a physician or a properly trained individual before taking this advice. I'm just speaking on my own terms. So you don't want to drop fat burners, if whatever fat burners you happen to be using. You don't want to drop PEDs for whatever PEDs that you're using and go cold turkey. The idea is that you want to taper those down over the course of 6 to 8 weeks. Allow your body a chance to get through that rebound. You're reducing the dosages as you go up to the point where you can come off or onto like a testosterone replacement level or thereabouts. Obviously, the most important thing that I can stress is having blood work done, especially following a contest, because who knows what you've done to your body with those drastic measures that we sometimes get into. Guys will use copious amounts of PEDs sometimes, along with diuretics, along with caloric restriction, add in the stress, the fat burners. Those things can play a toll, especially if you don't keep an eye on them. So things like blood glucose are very important to monitor, kidney function, liver function, metabolic function. So when you go into your doctor, you don't want to ask just for the basic blood panel. It doesn't really say enough, right? If you are in Canada, let me know, reach out to me, drop me a DM or leave a message in the comments. I can refer you to a clinician that I utilize in Toronto. She does appointments via Skype and Zoom, and she can assist you with that lab work just to make sure that you're healthy. And I think, in my opinion, it's a great idea for anyone to do anyways, especially if you're, fitness minded, because, let's face it, at the end of the day, this is about health and wellness and longevity. It's not solely about looking good. You also want to feel good and be in good health and be able to stay in the game for as long as you can. So I'm going to sign this one off for now. Again, thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe to the channel, and I'm going to get my lazy ass onto the computer at some point soon and work on the edits for that vacation. So thanks again. Cheers and have a great day. Bye now.